Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank all of you for being here. This is a terrific hearing, and we're going to have a lot of hearings on this subject. I told my staff a couple weeks ago, I said, I have been a solid supporter of the pharmaceutical industry all in my career, and I appreciate all that you do. I go to work every day because of carpal levodopa. I wouldn't be able to be here today if it wasn't for the pharmaceutical industry, and I have Parkinson's disease, but I can function every day and do my job because of that, and I appreciate it every day. My first chief of staff called me Sunday night from Children's Hospital in Atlanta to say his youngest son had just been diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. His first child, a daughter, had juvenile diabetes 12 years ago. But the thing he said at the end of the call is, at least I know that he can live a normal, happy life because of insulin and because of pharmaceutical care. So I'm not softening you up, but I am softening you up because those are good stories that we can't forget. And that is the value of innovation and research and development, and we appreciate it. However, when you can't explain it, and you're elected to the United States Senate, and I appreciate your comment about how you're honored you are to be in the United States Senate, Mr. Borrell, but the fact of the matter is, when I can't explain it, it's tough. And I can't explain the cost increases I've seen a lot of. Recently, one medicine I take 8 a day. One of the ones I take today went up when I went to get my new prescription in January. It was $90 more than it was at the end of last year. I just said, how can that be? And the guy said this and that and the other. He said, but let me call you back. He said, I'll call you in the next hour and see if I can't find a better price. In an hour's time, he had 4 prices for the same pharmaceutical. Some, if I didn't use insurance, it was one price. If I used cash, it was another price. If I took discounts, it was another price. If I took coupons, it was another price. And I don't remember the name of all of them, but I remember it was very complicated. And it reminded me of my business. When I sold real estate, the price of a mortgage was not just the interest rate that you paid in the sticker price, but you take the effect of discount points and rebates and other things that go into the annual percentage rate return of the product. And that's what you're doing with discounts and with rebates, I assume. And it's going into the cost of and ultimately into your product, which caused me to ask this question. Who sets the discount and who sets the rebate? Pardon my finger, but we'll start with you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Senator. I think the best way to illustrate what you're describing is to give you an example. So Humira—
A short example, please.
Okay. Humira, we raised the price in 2019 6.2%. The actual fall through to the company, the realized price in 2019 will be 0.9%. So the part in between there is rebates that have gone up and channel mix primarily. But it does give you some idea of the massive change that can occur between list and realized price. We raise price to try to offset inflation, merit increases that we give our employees, and increases in R&D.
So you set the discount or the rebate?
We negotiate with payers, so managed care.
You're a supplier, though, and you negotiate with the pharmaceutical, the PBMs, and those people. Is that right?
Correct. And they negotiate aggressively.
Is that pretty much true with everybody, that they're the major component between the end retail consumer price and the origin of the product?
Yes, Senator.
Well, that seems like that's someplace we ought to focus because that's where the distorted numbers come in. Johnson & Johnson, and I'm sorry, Jensen, is that right? Is that the subsidiary?
Yes, Janssen, correct.
In your testimony, you talk about your average list price of 8.1% up, but an average net price change of only 4.6%. So while your gross went up 8.6, your net went down 4.6 in the same pricing period. How does that happen? If you're setting how does it not go up on the bottom?
Yeah, and in fact, in 2018, our net price actually declined 8.6%. So even more than that. So the intermediaries in the system are very, very effective negotiators.
Okay, tell me who the intermediaries are.
Those would be the PBMs and the insurers.
And the insurance companies.
Right, and they set the formularies for patients.
And they're not the same people, they're two different people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Excuse
me for doing this, but I want to make sure I get all this in. And I apologize, you're a nice lady and I'm being ugly to do that, but I'm sorry.
All fine.
All right, we got the PBMs and we got the insurance companies. Yep. Is there anybody else between the wholesale price by the manufacturer at the beginning and the retail price that's sold at the end in the drugstore? Is there anybody else that contributes to the cost other than the discount and the rebate?
Several actors, Senator, in the supply chain are rewarded on the listing price, wholesalers themselves, and,
Is that a consumption bonus? Is that a sales bonus? That they're rewarded for doing what?
Well, to be a wholesaler and distribute our products, what we need to do in order to realign the incentive is to get rid of the reward being based on a listing price.
I've got to stop because the chairman is mean and he'll cut me off the next time. So I'll end by saying this. You answered my question, but it does point out the one person that's not benefiting from the rebates and not benefiting from the cost negotiation is the customer. And we're here for the customer today. We represent them. And so we got to get to the bottom of this so we can have something we can explain and they can experience. And I apologize, Mr. Chairman.